For our restorative class tonight, we'll start the first 15 to 20 minutes doing some guided breath work, arriving in our bodies, and then warming our physical forms up top to bottom with some slow somatic yoga so that we can take time to set ourselves up in 4 different restorative postures this evening. Now, restorative postures, they're typically prop heavy, and you hold them anywhere from 5 to 15 minutes, depending on the asks of your physical form. Now, the power of restorative yoga is that we work in these postures to support the body so intensely, so much, that every muscle can relax. Every effort can be released, and you can physically melt every fiber of your being exactly where you are. And in these moments, we also invite the mind to melt as well. This practice leaves our bodies and our minds revived, refreshed, rested, right? It's going to help you sleep like a baby tonight and start next week with a fuller cup. So 4 props tonight. If you're meeting me in bed, ditch the yoga mat. If you're on the floor, grab a cushion, lay a blanket out. It doesn't have to be too wild. And then maybe you have a yoga block. Maybe instead you have a big thick book. Grab either one for tonight. I'm going to use the big thick book. And then I have 2 yoga blankets here. Now, they're pretty small, but yoga blankets, they add like some pads, some cushion. You can roll them up, you can fold them up. Bath towels work, throw blankets work. Grab a few of those. Last but not least, a bolster. Now, this seems fancy, but it's just like a thick body pillow. You might grab a body pillow, you might grab a couch cushion, you might grab a few pillows that are regular sized from your bed. Grab what you need, place it all nearby. We're gonna be messy tonight. We're gonna let it be what it is. And then take a seat up on your couch cushion, your pillow. Maybe you hang out in Sukhasana with legs crossed. Maybe you extend them out, making a little space between each. Either way, find where your body wants to be in this moment. And as you arrive in this space, you might let your jaw relax. You might let your shoulders soften towards the earth. You might even on your next exhale, relax through the belly. Feel your body weight pressing down through your seat. Those butt cheeks, those sits bones weighing a little heavier into the earth with each exhale as the body relaxes. With eyes closed or gaze soft and fuzzy, can you feel the body growing heavier and heavier down into your seat? Let even the cheeks on your face soften and relax, drooping towards the earth. Don't worry about it, just let it be. Even your collarbones soften and melt towards the earth. Feel it, imagine it. Allow your mind's eye to be consumed with this experience of melting down into your seat. Posture be damned in this moment. Just show up and melt. Even your tongue relaxes. We're in no rush here. As you continue with each exhale to melt, I want to read you a short poem by Diana Folds called Walk Slowly. She says, "It only takes a reminder to breathe, a moment to be still, and just like that, something in me settles, softens, makes space for imperfection. The harsh voice of judgment drops to a whisper. And I remember that life isn't a relay race, that we will all cross that finish line, that waking up to life is what we were born for. As many times as I forget, catch myself charging forward without even knowing where I'm going, that many times I can make the choice to stop, to breathe, to be, and to walk slowly into the mystery. As you meet yourself in your seat in this moment, we set aside everything that happened up until this moment, the worries, the stress, the many demands. With your next exhale, we release and set them aside. This moment is for you to nourish your existence, your body, your mind, your soul. With each exhale, you release everything that has come before that might keep you from this moment. Pause button. We also set aside everything that will happen after this moment. We can't control all things the future. If we're always thinking and planning and worrying, we're never here, and so we pause button. We nourish ourselves by remaining present with our bodily sensations, by inviting the mind to become present with each breath in and out. We pause. Let's bring some movement, some length to the spine. On your next inhale, I want you to press down into your seat, rise tall through the top of the head. We're feeling that space we're creating between each vertebra as we press down to rise up. And then notice, as you've made all this length, what else has risen and clenched? Can we keep the height through the spine and relax the shoulders back down? Can we soften any tension in the jaw or the tongue in this moment? Can you breathe deep into the belly, filling it, stretching it, and then an exhale softens and releases. A few more breaths just like that. Big, nourishing, however feels good to you, breaths. Feel that oxygen course through your body, bringing healing, bringing rejuvenation. We bring calmness to the nervous system just with the breath alone. Let's add to the breath some stretch. We're going to drop that right ear down towards the right shoulder. Really actively pressing the ear down as you also press that right shoulder down. We're going to stimulate the vagal nerve here. This just brings the busyness in our mind, the worrying, the anxiety. It helps calm the nervous system, which helps calm the busyness in the mind And we do it by stimulating those vagal nerves. So you might take that right hand to weight the side of the head down, getting further into those muscles, those nerve bundles. You might even take that left arm, press those fingertips down towards the earth. As you relax your jaw here, feel the stretch along the side of the neck. And then notice what happens to that stretch as you lift that outstretched left arm up and down. Notice how a small adjustment just like this can really shift the intensity of that stretch along the side of the neck. Maybe you feel it, maybe you just imagine it, but take time. Be present with this sensation, the stretch and length. And then when it feels right, let the head float upright. Take a moment to explore sensation. And then nice and slow, opposite ear melts down towards that shoulder. Take your time. Maybe you know where you want to take this stretch. Breathing deep into that belly space. You might again play with the position of this right arm. Notice how the movement changes that length, that stretch, the intensity on the side of the neck. These are ways we get to know ourselves more deeply, the way we build inner wisdom and trust. Getting to know these little sensations that we've disconnected from. When you're ready, release that hand, float the head upright. Take time to feel beautiful. And then let's move into some seated cat-cow. So from here, we press down through, I say through the outsides of the legs, right down into the earth. We're going to tilt the pelvic bowl so that that tailbone curls up towards the heart center. And then drop that forehead down towards that tailbone. Hang out just like this, finding this C shape in the spine. I'm going to turn so that you can see this with a little more ease. The tailbone tilts up, that low back rounds here, and then we drop the forehead down. Marjarasana. Take time to stretch through the whole back body. Can you relax the cervical spine, the back of the neck, just a little more? Can you curl that tailbone up towards that heart center, feeling those lumbar vertebrae? Find even more space, even more length between them. And then on an inhale of your choice, rise up tall through the spine and then keep lifting until that chin lifts skyward. You might hang out just like this, feeling the front of the throat open. Or you might take both hands, place them gently atop the heart center, and then use the arms to press the heart center down as that chin lifts skyward. So a big stretch to the front of the throat and the heart. Continue to actively lift through that chin. The back of the head is going to want to rest on those shoulder blades. And so we continue to actively lift so that that doesn't happen. Keeping the jaw softly closed here. You might experiment with what this feels like as you open and close your mouth. What happens to the intensity on the front of the throat? Beautiful. On an exhale, curl slowly back into cat. Take your time, relaxing the forehead down. A moment or two here, we take it nice and slow. And then keeping this C shape, this rounded spine, we're going to find a fold here. So let the forehead melt down towards the earth as you gently rock that heart center forward. Letting the arms slowly walk out from the body if that feels good. And we're keeping this nice rounded spine, which I typically preach against, but this is the stretch we're in for in this moment. Curl it up, fold it down, just as much as the body wants to. Sometimes I imagine that I'm a little pill bug, just curling up in a little ball. Finding a little cocoon here, a little refuge for the moment, a little comfort to mix the bigness of life. Maybe you find that here for a breath or two. And then invitation here on an inhale to begin to curl slowly upright, lengthen through the spine. Take your time. Whew. And then keeping this length through the spine once more, drop the shoulders, soften through the jaw. Wonderful. Let's warm up the lateral spine. I'll face you one more time. Now check in with the legs. Maybe in sitting Sukhasana, you want to switch sides, right? Whichever leg is in front now becomes the leg behind. Maybe you're in Sukhasana and you want to try extending the legs out. Bring comfort to your physical form always. In about 5 minutes, we'll start our first restorative posture. So from here, an inhale sweeps the arms out and up, pressing through those fingertips. As you exhale, we're going to plant that right arm, press through those right fingertips. Hold this posture. Our goal is finding length all through the side body. And there are a few different ways to do that. So pressing out through those right fingertips is one way. Pressing down through that right sit bone is another way. Bring that length into the hips. And then you might keep this right arm long, or you might begin to bend the elbow in towards the side body to further find a stretch and a little more length. But you decide what feels good. You might even notice with each breath in, if you can use that breath to further stretch and lengthen through the side body. On your next breath in, sweep both arms up as you rise. Exhale, switch sides. Get cozy in this stretch. Take your time to get there. Beautiful. On an inhale, rise up. Exhale, switch sides. Find that length once more. This time, we're going to move a little differently with the breath. With these left fingertips outstretched. On an exhale, I want you to turn your heart center down towards the earth as you reach that left hand down as well. Inhale, reach it up and back behind you. So we're starting this rotation with the breath. Inhale to open. Exhale to close it back up. once or twice more as I drop my mic on the ground. Inhale, rise up, sweep both arms. Exhale, switch sides. Find that length. And then when you're ready, begin your flow. Rotate that heart center down. Right arm lowers. Inhale, lift and open. Beautiful. Once or twice more, flow of your own breath. And then on an inhale, rise up to a neutral seat. Beautiful. Together, let's find our first posture. This one is one of my favorite restorative postures. It's restorative cobra. Restorative cobra not only is a gentle heart opener, so our heart opening stretches will be helpful here, but it's also a posture in which we nurture and cradle the heart center. And when our hearts are heavy, when our minds are heavy, right? When the world feels heavy, the heart is definitely heavy. This posture cradles and holds us. So we're going to offer ourselves all the lusciousness in the world. You're going to grab whatever cushion, pillow you are sitting on, both of your blankets or towels, and your block. Restorative is prop heavy, but it is worth it, boo. So take your time. You're going to take your block or your big book and place it up by where your head will go. Your next move is your body pillow, your bed pillow, your bolster. We're creating an incline here, right? Like a little ramp. And then for Cobra, you can kind of see how that might be, right? We can kind of see how we're setting up the body. So with our first towel or blanket, I create a jelly roll, just like this. And we're going to place one at the bottom with the tail going down towards where the feet will be. You can see just like this, right? I rolled it up, the tail goes down. We create a second jelly roll. This time, the tail goes over top, and we place it at the top. Here is our setup. I'm going to sneeze. Excuse me. Whew. Excuse me. For our first posture, from a tabletop or a hands and knees, we're going to slowly lower our pelvis down on top of the pillow. Now, I have a belly here. My belly is going to go just above this roll that we've placed. So first I plant my pelvis and my belly, and then I'm going to scoot my pelvis down so that my heart can plant. And as the heart plants, this roll supports the chin. And you can decide, do you want the roll bigger? Do you want to tuck it up underneath the chest and tuck the chin? Do you want to press the roll away and rest the tip of the chin? Only you know. And then we'll plant the forearms, tuck the elbows in by the side body. Melt the heart, rest the head. Find your first posture. As we soften the body down onto the supports beneath it, relax your glutes. The butt cheeks tend to clench in order to support us. And so we soften down through the thighs, the knees even relaxing and releasing, the calves melting. Let that softness trickle down through the toes of your feet. Can you relax your two big toes? Can you feel them in your mind's eye softening just a little more? What about those pinky toes? Maybe you imagine just that left pinky toe softening and relaxing. What would that feel like? Let that softness flow back up into the shoulders and the heart. Whatever tension might be there, let it melt away now into the supports beneath you. Give it up. Let it flow from you. All the things you've been carrying that don't belong to you. All the energies you've collected that are not yours, that have stuck to you, that are dragging you around, let them go with each exhale. The body melts, the heart melts, and you release in this place. Your jaw remains soft and relaxed. Your forehead, that space between the brows, finds ease. Take time to melt and be here. Continuing to release and let go into the ether. You might imagine it as black smoke that would each exhale leaves your body and dissipates into nothingness in the air around you. Continue to release and let go until there's nothing that clings. When you've released all the things that you feel like you're meant to, take a moment and just feel your heart cradled and held by the universe in this moment. Allow yourself to be nourished. Receive the support of the earth beneath you. Happy to hold you no matter how heavy your heart or shoulders or mind feel or are. Let yourself be held for just a little longer. If you're ready to invite movement to the body, you might gently lift the head, turn your gaze towards the right, let that cheek slowly lower back down onto the supports beneath you, relaxing through your neck. When you're ready, you might lift and rotate the head in the opposite direction, resting it down for a moment, taking time to soften fully into this place. The jaw, the neck, the shoulders. And then when you're ready, you might slide the hands slowly underneath the shoulders. Feel the texture of the earth beneath your fingertips. What is it like? Are there temperatures? From here, you might slide the big toes together. Press length into the arms, lifting through the head and the heart. And then if it makes sense to you, you can press the hips back towards the heels. Two options here. You might first stop with the hips atop the knees and then lower the heart towards the earth for puppy dog pose. Grab my mic here. Ooh. If this feels good, hang out here. Let the heart melt. Rest the chin on the supports beneath it. And then from here, you might transition into child's pose or wide-legged child's pose. For child's pose, we take knees together, sitting the hips back. But it doesn't leave a lot of room for my tummy or my heart to melt. So I typically keep the big toes together, widen the knees out, sit the hips back, and invite my belly to snuggle between my thighs. Melt your heart down. Take time in puppy dog or child's pose, wherever feels good. And then when you're ready, walk the hands towards the body, rise up onto the knees. We're ready to transition into our next posture. This next posture only requires one thing. That's your bolster or your pillow, whatever this one is. We'll set aside the other props because we will be using them later in some capacity. Keep this book or block close by because we'll be using it in a little while. And then you're going to take your bolster or your pillow and place it from left to right across where you'll be laying. So here's the head, there are the feet. And we want this pillow to hit right here at the lowest part of the shoulder blades and the rib cage. So from here, take a seat, bend the knees, plant the pads of your feet, and then slowly walk the hands back, lengthen through your spine, right? Really stretch space between each vertebra. Slowly lower the body down onto that bolster. And I can already tell you mine's too high because we want the arms to rest atop the bolster. So I'm going to sit back up and try again. We let it be messy. The arms, you might tee out wide, letting those shoulder blades melt. And then you have a few options here. You might hang out just like this, keeping the pads of the feet planted and the knees bent. This is a big heart opener, stretching through the front body. This is powerful work that we're doing. You can also experience this as a twist. So if you would like, keeping both pads of the feet planted at about hip distance apart, we're going to let both knees fall over to the right. And notice that they hover, right? If this feels good, let it be, right? Stretching everywhere the body says stretch and lengthen, softening and melting into this posture. Now, if this doesn't feel good with the knees, you might grab your 2 blankets. The first one is going to support the thigh closest to the earth, right? Placing that blanket beneath it. The second blanket is going to go between the legs so that your legs and your knees are no longer floating. They're fully supported. So experiment, play. We oftentimes, we want to like be good and get into the position really quickly. And so we forfeit props and cushions and support that would make these extra dreamy. And so my hope for you tonight is that you short yourself nothing. You pour out abundance upon yourself every opportunity you get. Now, option here to lift your head and then turn it in the opposite direction of your knees, then let it slowly float back down to earth. Can you relax through the throat and the jaw here, the shoulders and the heart? Let that softness trickle all the way down to your fingertips. Let the softness trickle down through the heart to the belly and the hips. Can we soften and release any effort we're holding in the hips and the thighs, the knees or the calves? We let it go. If the body shifts and slides as we melt, let it. As long as it feels relaxing, we release expectation. We embrace what is. We accept the nourishment of breathing and being in this present moment. Before we move, take an opportunity to scan your physical body with your mind's eye. Notice any places where tension or tightness has snuck up all sneaky-like. And invite softness and release. Maybe again you release that tension on your exhale like black smoke on your breath. Let it go. Let it be. When you're ready, slowly lift the head, roll your gaze back up skyward, and rest it back down on the earth. You might begin to slowly rock your knees skyward. Planting the pads of your feet, you might take a gentle sway of those knees, left and right. Take your time. Beautiful. From here, let's find this twist on the opposite side. So both of those knees falling towards the left. Again, using blankets to pad any part of the hips or thighs that might just feel extra luscious. And then once Those hips feel supported. The knees are soft. You might lift the head, turn it opposite the knees, rest it back down. Closing the eyes, if that feels nice, begin to relax from head to toe. Softening that space between your brows. Relaxing the lips and cheeks on your face. Your throat and heart center soften as the shoulders give way and melt all the way down to the fingertips. Feeling the hips and the belly melt on your next exhale. The knees grow heavy as they relax. Your ankles soften. Can you relax even the pads of your feet? For a moment, can you feel or imagine what it would be like? Relaxing the pads of your feet. You might notice each time the body softens into stillness, but the mind gets very busy. This is natural. This is your mind trying to support you in all the ways it's been trained by our society to consume, to work. And so in these places, when the mind begins to get loud, when it starts to get busy, all you have to do is invite it back into your physical body. We keep it gently busy by noticing all the sensations as they arise. And you might invite your mind to once more seek out tension in your muscles, that chronic tension that sneaks up even when you try and relax. And maybe your mind notices it and helps bring an invitation of softness there. Maybe you keep that busy mind focused on the sensations of the body by noticing how each inhale and exhale feels here. The subtle changes in the body with each breath in and each breath out. It's in this place or these places that we begin to retrain the habits of a busy mind. Without judgment, without pressure, without metrics. We just arrive, trust the process, and watch as the mind slowly finds ease in the stillness of the body. When it feels right, you might begin to rub your thumbs against the rest of your fingertips, feeling sensation. Maybe it's soft and tickly. Maybe it's rough and scratchy. You might bring some sensation into the wrists with some wrist circles. You might press out long through your fingertips, feeling the arms stretch and lengthen. And then when you're ready, rotate your face back up towards the ceiling. Let the knees rise and follow when they're ready. Whew. Take some time here. Let the knees sway back and forth. Really slow, honoring the low back. Excuse me. If it feels nice, you might stretch the legs out long. Press through the heels. Only if that feels good. A moment or two, continuing to awaken the body. Inviting deeper stretching, moving, twisting. Exploration of self here. It doesn't matter what it looks like. There's no right or wrong way. We just feel what is, right? This is part of being present. And then in your own time, bend those knees. We're going to roll over onto our side body and slowly press ourselves up. Excuse me. Whew. I've got a cold I am fighting. Here is our last posture. This is the posture that I would highly recommend setting up for against the wall, a headboard, having a dining room chair here. If none of those things are available to you, don't even worry about it. I'm going to cue every which way, okay? So, grab your bolster or your pillow, and you're going to set it up pretty close to the wall. Now, if you don't have a wall, it's going to be pretty close to the chair. If you don't have a chair, just set it someplace that you can sit on it. It's good enough. From here, we're going to sit on our pillow, but we're going to do it instead of sitting this way like we normally would. We're going to turn and sit this way. So I'm going to sit my butt cheeks on my pillow, and I'm going to extend my legs out just like this. Here is my wall or my chair. To hang out in legs up the wall, this is an inverted posture. So take your time getting there. Yes, it will be messy. Each time that you meet yourself here, it will bring a new layer of ease with it. So throw away judgment and just get ready for adventure, whatever that looks like. From here, I walk my hands back, and then I'm going to scoot my butt forward. And then all I'm going to do is this. I'm going to swing my feet up on the wall and then turn my body. Now this is where you could see that my shins might rest on a seat here. The pads of your feet might rest against a wall instead. You might even extend the legs out, resting the heels. So take some time to decide what feels good to you. Now, if there is no wall or chair, the pads of your feet are going to be planted. This is still an inversion. These hips are lifted higher than the heart. And so gravity is still in session here. Take some time to find your personal leg placement. It doesn't have to make sense for anybody but you. You can adjust it as often as you like, but shoot for something that you could really just let go in. And then once your legs have found their home, you might sweep your arms up overhead, relaxing the back of the arms and hands against the earth. Again, we invite the melt. With each exhale, the body grows heavy towards the earth. We invite gravity to act upon us with our awareness in a rather unusual way. Instead of our feet grounding down or our cheeks grounding down, you're grounding through the heart, through the shoulder blades, through the back of the head. Let even the arms grow heavy with each exhale. Our heart normally has to work hard, pumping to pull all that blood up from the legs and the torso. And now we've created ease. We've invited gravity to do the work of the heart. So you might take a moment just to say, hey, heart, I love ya. Thank you for your ceaseless work to move me through life, to carry me through the hard and the wonderful. You always show up, heart. Thank you for showing up for me. And the heart says, it's delighted to show up for you in every way it knows how. It's not just the heart here that we love on. It's also the lymphatic system, the spleen, all of our lymph nodes, all those white blood cells that circulate through the body. We use gravity as well to create ease. Take your time here to allow your body to receive the nourishment that you offer it. The sweet care, the gentle, kind awareness that you've brought. Let the body receive that nourishment. With each breath in, with the heart open here, receive that nourishment that you've poured out on yourself. That nourishment that you've worked to cultivate in this practice. You might imagine it as a golden light all around you. This golden light that with each breath in, you draw into the lungs, into the bloodstream. This nourishing golden light pouring into each cell of the body. With each breath in, you receive the nourishment. All the way up into the tips of your toes, you breathe in again and again, filling the body. Every cell in your being receives There is an abundance. Breathe it in. Invite it in. Stay here for as long as you like. This inversion is powerful. And they say scientific studies and neurobiology shows us that 20 minutes spent just like this can refresh the mind and the body, the equivalent of a 2-hour nap. So never underestimate the care that you offer your mind, your body, your spirit as you hang out in stillness, as you press this pause button on life and say, no, I'm going to not hustle. I'm not going to chase after the what if, what if, what if. I'm going to slow down. Take a deep breath and cultivate nourishment in the present moment. Begin to awaken the body, if you like, by wiggling the toes. You might bend the knees if your feet are against the wall. Plant the pads. One of my favorite things to do is take a big twist by using the wall or headboard and just walking the feet over towards one side, just as far as you might like to go. And then walking them back up and towards the other side. Now, a wall is a really fun tool because in this inversion, you can hang out in a wide-legged pose, right? There's tons of room for play. You might bend the knees into a goddess pose, or even a yogic squat if that feels good, just to open these hips up. Goddess pose also looks a lot like frog because it is just oriented differently. Take some time to just slowly explore with a little delight wherever you are. And then in your own sweet time, you might slowly roll all the way on over towards your side body. And then begin to press yourself up into a seat. Let it be messy. We'll end our practice on whichever bolster or pillow you've been using, in whichever posture brings you comfort and ease in this moment. Heck, if you're in bed and you just want to spread out in a starfish, be there. But take one last moment to breathe deep into the belly and release that breath. You've done such hard work. Rest, stillness, cultivating the relationship between the mind and the body is powerful work. This is some of the hardest work that we can do as conscious beings. It's much easier to be busy. It's much easier to keep the mind occupied. And so you've met yourself here. And here you are. You did it. You might take a moment to bring the palms into Anjali Mudra. You might even bow the head a little bit. Show yourself some reverence, some gratitude, maybe even a little awe for being willing to show up, to explore, to be messy, to nourish yourself. You might say thank you if it feels right. You might even say, hell yeah, let's do it again. Wherever you go, as the days come and go, know that this pause button is yours. Anytime you like. Anytime you find yourself in bed and that mind gets busy, play with one of these postures. Melt the body and let your mind follow, breathing in the nourishment. And remember that the light in the dark in me sees the light in the dark in you. And we are the same. Thank you for spending this time with me. All right. Oh, I'm going to take us off focus mode. I apologize for my stuffy nose.